In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to use the CX2 for unit conversions. Let's say you need to add 13.1 gallons of fuel to your fuel tank, but the fuel pumps are in units of liters. So 13.1, and converting that to liters, right here, gallons to liters, 49.6, so just pump that amount of fuel into the fuel tanks. Let's say on another day after the flight you fill the tanks and it takes 88 liters to fill the tanks, and you want to check back against your nav log and see how that works out, but your nav log is in gallons, so converting the other way, liters to gallons, that's about 23.25 gallons. Now here's a scenario that comes up all the time. You've got a passenger and the passenger says, "How fast are we going?" Now you know you're going 112 knots, but the passenger doesn't really understand that unit. If the passenger is a Canadian, it's probably better to convert that to kilometers per hour right here. Tell the passenger you're going 207, maybe even round that off to 210 kilometers per hour. That'll probably impress them. Maybe your passenger is an American. In that case, it probably makes more sense to convert from nautical miles to statute miles and tell your passenger you're going about 130 miles per hour. Now here's another really common scenario. You get a box to load in your airplane. It says right on the side of the box 10 kilograms, but you're doing your weight and balance in units of pounds. So we can convert that right here, kilograms to pounds, and it's just a whisker over 22 pounds. Okay, let's imagine a European pilot approaching North America, and air traffic control tells him that the altimeter setting is 30.43, but his or her altimeter is in units of millibars, so we can make that conversion right here. So this pilot is going to set about 1030.5 millibars on the altimeter. Now here's one we hope we don't face. You're up in Tuktoyaktuk and the thermometer says -40 degrees Celsius. So notice how we put that in. We put in the 40 and then use the symbol here to convert. And we're wondering, what is that in units of Fahrenheit? So conversion is right here, and -40. I wonder if there's something wrong with the CX2. Actually there's not. That's maybe worth remembering, that at -40 degrees Celsius, Fahrenheit, same thing. Now if you're a Canadian, you know that water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius, and converting that to Fahrenheit, to every American, the freezing temperature of water is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And we should probably know this conversion back and forth. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, and might be worth remembering that that's 212 degrees Fahrenheit. On the other hand, every American knows 72 degrees is just a really nice, pleasant room temperature. If you're visiting Canada, that's 22.2 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that's your basic unit conversions on the CX2. Sometimes though you want to get a unit that's not on the CX2. Let's say you're desperately trying to remember how many feet in 1 nautical mile, and you just can't remember. So there's no button here to convert directly from nautical miles to feet. We can go from nautical miles to statute miles, and we can go from nautical miles to kilometers, but that's about it. And we can only go from meters to feet, and that's about it. Then we suddenly realize we can get there in 2 or 3 steps. If we take our 1 nautical mile, we can convert it to kilometers. So it's about 1.9 kilometers. Now we just need to convert this to meters. That's a piece of cake. Remember, kilo stands for 1,000, so we go times 1,000. And remember, hit the equal button now, not the enter button. That won't work. You have to hit the equal button. So here we have the number of meters in 1 nautical mile. Now we can make the conversion using the meters to feet conversion. So right there, and we get 6,076 and a little bit feet in 1 nautical mile. I'd probably round that off to 6,076 and remember it if I was you. That's a number that comes up fairly often. Let's say you're trying to remember how many feet in a statute mile, and you can't remember that either. So we try the same trick, but there's no button to go directly from statute miles to kilometers. But we can get there again with one extra step. We can go here, statute miles to nautical miles. So there we are, almost 0.9 of a nautical mile. And now just the same process we just did. Remember how that goes? We now convert to kilometers. So there's the number of kilometers. Convert to meters by multiplying by 1,000. There we go. There's the number of meters in a statute mile, and then convert that to feet, and there we are, 5,280 feet in 1 statute mile. That's probably worth remembering as well. Okay, so I've just got one final topic, and that's time conversions. Let's say you just completed a cross-country flight and it took 4 hours and 26 minutes. You want to log that in your personal logbook, but you keep your logbook in decimal hours. So we need to convert 4 hours and 26 minutes to decimal hours. The CX2 will do that for us. Just have to know how to make the entry here. So we enter 4 for the hours, and then we use the colon key right here. So hit the colon, and then the 26 minutes. So this now says 4 hours, 26 minutes. If you had some seconds, we could hit the colon again and enter the seconds. In this case, we'll say we don't have any seconds. So now we're going to use this conversion right here from hours, minutes, and seconds to decimal hours. So right there, it's 4.43. According to the air regulations, you have to round that down to 1 decimal point. So you're going to enter 4.4 in your logbook. Now sometimes you need to go the other way with this conversion. Let's say you've prepared your nav log, and on each line of your nav log you have the number of minutes for that leg, and you add them all up, and it adds up to 205 minutes. And now you'd like to file your flight plan. But you can't file 205 minutes on a flight plan. It has to be in hours and minutes. So there's no button again to go directly from minutes to hours, minutes, and seconds. We can only go from hours to hours, minutes, and seconds. So the first thing we need to do is take this 205 and convert it to hours. That's really easy though. Just divide by 60. Hit the equal again. So your flight is going to take 3.42 hours. But we need to follow the flight plan in hours, minutes, and seconds. So piece of cake, just use this conversion right here. That's 3 hours and 25 minutes. File that on your flight plan and you're done. Okay, so that gives you a pretty good overview of how to use the CX2 for unit conversions.